AITA for making my husband and children prove they can take care of a dog without my help? I am not the original poster. That is you, Seaworthiness own 9590. She posted in r, Am I the Asshole? Mood spoiler. Short and sweet happy ending but no dog tax. Less than. Original post. February 21st, 2023. Before we got married and had kids, my husband and I agreed that all big decisions required 2 yes or no votes. Well, our 2 oldest kids and my husband want a dog. I do not. I have heard too many horror stories about a family getting a pet and then the person who did not want it being stuck caring for it. I finally agreed on 3 conditions. 1. Smaller than 60 pounds. We do not need a Mastiff. 2. A non-shedding dog only. None of us are allergic. I just don't want extra work. 3. For 60 days in a row they had to collect all the garbage from all the trash cans in the house and put it in the big garbage bin. That was to make sure they would remember to feed a dog every day. And for 6 straight days they, all 3 of them, had to go for a 1-mile walk twice a day, with the GPS route tracker active. If they missed a day they had to start over. The longest they have made it so far is 2 weeks. My parents called me up to say I was being ridiculous and petty. I 100% agreed with them. But since they always side with the kids, I was ready for them. I sent them a link for a dog walking service in my area. It is very reasonable. I said if they wanted a say in the dog decision they had to agree to set up an account with that company and that I could call up the company for help whenever they're precious. Perfect. Grandchildren and son-in-law forgot to take care of the dog. They said I was being a jerk and that they had the right to their opinion. I agreed that they had that. But unless they were willing to pay to include their opinion in the decision, it did not matter. My husband has finally seen that the kids aren't responsible enough to have a dog. Great. He said we needed to tell them. I said that we was one too many people. I wasn't the one who sided with them when I had said I knew they were not ready. He thinks I'm being a dick. No one has called me an asshole, but that's only because they say it in much more polite terms. Relevant comments. Some A+ parenting and life lessons. It's kind of funny. I've seen the kids have to drag their dad out for a walk in the morning and after work. Do they only get one chance at 60 days? They can try for 60 days as many times as they want. Is there only one slacker in the group? Nope. They have all screwed up. Clarification on what they said originally. We had agreed that the kids weren't ready before husband came back to me with them. I didn't involve the kids. He and I had discussed it and said no. Then he brought the kids into it. Do your parents always question your parenting? My parents are probably trying to get even with me for my Keyshawn spritz. Do you do all of the chores around the house and are they slacking? No, I'm not going to say that. My husband and children do a lot of chores around the house. I do not feel like I'm overwhelmed. To be clear, we have 3 bathrooms and 4 bedrooms and a kitchen. The trash job is for them to empty out those trash cans into the big one outside that goes to the curb, just so they have a monotonous job to do every day that is easy for me to check. Even if you get a non-shedding dog, you'll still have to brush it and care for it, and you may have to walk it. I know I will be responsible for a lot of the tasks required to care for a dog. I just want them to understand what they are getting into. I've gone on most of the walks. It's harder for me because we have a baby in a stroller as well. GPS might be pushing it. I caught all 3 of them hiding at a friend's house on their walk. Oop is voted NTA. Update post. December 11th, 2023. 10 months later. They did it. It took them almost a year, but they managed to follow all the rules for 2 months. We have found an acceptable dog at a rescue and we are bringing him home tomorrow. My kids are stoked to get a pup for Christmas. My husband has lost a bunch of weight from his daily walks, and I have too since I joined in on most walks. Thanks everyone for your comments and opinions. I held strong and they came through. Editor's note. A reminder that this sub has a 7-day waiting period, meaning the latest update is 7 days old. If you have seen this before, it was not on this sub but one that does not have this rule. And for 6 days they, all 3 of them, had to go for a 1-mile walk twice a day, with the GPS route tracker active. If they missed a day they had to start over. We stan a legend. Honestly, good for her. I wouldn't have thought to institute something like that. The plain fact is that if the only people who got dogs were the ones who took care of them correctly, walked them every day, picked up after them, groomed them, didn't let them turn into half-dog, half-pot-belly pigs, etc., etc., far fewer people would own dogs. Oop wasn't just making sure her husband and kids were up to the task. She was looking out for the dog. Good for her. Good that the update is a happy ending. Taking care of a dog needs a lot of time and you will need lots of responsibility to raise it well. Glad that things worked out. She was in the right. And the people who were whining were just whinging because she was enforcing rules they agreed to. Dogs are generally a 10-year commitment at minimum. If you can't commit to it at least 2 months, then no, you shouldn't take care of a dog. Because it'll be unfair to both the dog and Oop. I know a woman who was promised this as a child. I think about 10. She set her alarm an hour earlier and took a walk every day before school and after school. She met every condition her parents set and they still didn't get her a dog. If my parents had done that, I would still be angry about it 50 years or so later. I love this woman. I read the op and some people passionately lit Oop up. Comments ran the gamut from she's controlling, manipulative, and a horrible mother, wife, to she's smart, rational, and her plan was amazing. Some people even accused her of hating dogs and predicted she would likely abuse it if they did get a dog. Reddit be a wild place. I am a vet tech. I am a dog person who is also a magnet for special needs animals and has a bleeding heart when it comes to critters. My husband is a very compassionate, crazy cat lady. Due to my profession, all animal-related issues default to me. I bear the brunt of the responsibilities for our pets. This goes for both medical, of course, and general day-to-day care, which I don't mind. It is nice to know, however, that I'll never have to worry about my family getting a pet I didn't agree to, and then end up getting volunteered to be the primary carer for it once the newness wears off. Honestly, in situations like OOPs, I think it helps for couples to determine who is the default parent, spouse first. Every relationship has one to some degree, even if you think yours doesn't. I say this because that person is always the one who ends up caring for a pet when it's not new and exciting anymore, or when the behavioral issues start. Regardless of who wanted it in the first place, that person's opinion should be taken into account more than anyone else's. The idea of a new pet sounds fun and exciting, but it's a massive commitment that could last for up to 20 years. People always think short term but don't consider the long game. Do your research. Find the right pet and breed for your family's lifestyle. Don't bring a pet into a home where it clearly isn't wanted. They're living creatures too and deserve a loving home, not one where they're ignored, resented, or mistreated. And lastly, look into common health concerns and determine if you can handle veterinary care, treatments, financially. To note, when you look up any breed you're going to find a mile-long list of health concerns. I'm not talking about all of those. I'm talking about the serious health issues. often genetic, that certain breeds are heavily predisposed to and very commonly acquire at some point, e.g. Great Danes GDV, a cobloat, Golden's hemangiosarcoma, Rottweiler's osteosarcoma, Cavalier's mitral valve disease and syringomyelia, Teacup kind of breed all the broken legs, all bulldog varieties everything, including but not limited to allergies, chronic ear infections, skin infections, entropion, chronic dry eye, skin fold infections, brachycephalic syndrome, elongated soft palate breathing issues. I could go on forever. Just remember, there's no such thing as a free dog, cat. Even an animal someone gives you is going to have needs that require $. For the entire length of their life. Even a healthy animal with no serious health concerns ever still requires preventative medication, food, yearly vaccines, accessories, and the like. Be realistic and plan ahead. And try not to piss off your spouse. Shit. One more thing. Since we're approaching Christmas time, a pet is almost never an appropriate gift. No one should be surprised with a pet. Every year, lots of people think it's a great gift idea. I get it. Puppies and kitties are the cutest, but oftentimes the idea is spontaneous and eventually reality will set in. Many animals end up at shelters and rescues after the holidays due to being given as gifts. It's inappropriate to make the decision to be a pet owner for someone else. Period. No dog tax. Terrible tragedy. I couldn't be more disappointed in this BORUS. Oop is a true gem of a human for looking out of the interest of the pooch. Great job also for parenting her kids and husband. Hey Oop, Keeshawns are great puppers. I miss my Sam dreadfully. In 1 year, they did it for 2 months. I have concerns? Oop is a legend. Mad respect to her for her iron will and patience. Pets are so much work. This is a great idea to see if the family is ready. I only have one pet and I'm exhausted by the morning wake-up calls. I am not allowed to sleep in on weekends anymore because she'll wake me up. Lol, rolling on the floor laughing. I used to work in a pet store. It sucked working there in many ways. Though we didn't sell puppies or kittens. It didn't suck that badly. But they were shockingly good about letting us deny animal sales. We denied people who refused to get proper tanks for bettas and goldfish. We refused a guy who killed 3 rabbits. Sorry. They just died. We refused one lady who wanted to buy a feeder mouse for her cat to play with. I understand the mental gymnastics on that one. But a snake needs to eat. The cat can play with a toy instead of a living creature. But what we did the most was talk to people about hamsters, gerbils, rats, and other first pets. We always told the parents that they were responsible for the animals. If they said a lot about, "I'm not going feed or water it or take care of it," that's up to you, to their 8-year-old or whatever. We would step in and at least try to get them to understand. We never sold an animal to someone who didn't sound ready. Some people think it's just a toy to ooh and ah it until you realize you are taking care of another life. This was a great thing to do. Hopefully OOP's family stays consistent. Crazy how she had to parent her grown-ass husband too. Could tell she's the one keeping that household running. What brilliant parenting. Right down to her boundaries and practical applications of responsibility. That dog is going to be well taken care of. Not really wanting to sound like I'm defending the husband and kids. Get off your butts and work, as Kim K says. But before I got my dog, you would never be able to get me on a walk every day. It just was unappealing and impossible to motivate myself to do. I love to hike but never could make myself just walk my neighborhood. Now I walk it twice a day for long walks. 1 hour or so. And usually a couple shorter ones on my off days. Walking with a dog is just so much more fun and motivating.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AITA is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.